our segment called Faith Buzz with our last Faith Buzz. So I ask you this, Steph Scogna.
Yes.
Can we assume the Faith Buzzing bees have pollinated enough of the tweets this season?
I suppose so. I can't believe it's the end already, but I think they've done their job, don't you think?
I think so too. And season 2 is wrapping up season 3, which is we'll call it the Trinity season.
Oh, how nice.
Look forward to that. But let's start with these last 5 of the season. Numero uno is a tweet from Catholic News Service. Quote, Pope goes door to door, blessing the homes of the poor. Did you read this story?
I did.
This is fantastic because they didn't even know it was going to be the Pope.
I know, yeah.
You know, when I was reading this, they said they put up signs, and it said, a priest will be coming by to bless.
I love
and that priest happens to be the Bishop of Rome. Mic drop.
Boom.
What'd you think?
I love it. It's like, imagine opening your door and you're like, oh, you know, the parish father is coming by. It's like the Pope himself. I think it's great. I mean, are we surprised at this point that Pope Francis is doing this? No. I mean, he's awesome. I think he started this during the Year of Mercy, these Mercy Fridays, where he's
and it's continuing.
Yeah, showing up, praying for the poor, praying with the poor. I love it.
And I think he was apologetic sometimes.
Yes.
When he'd open the door, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to interrupt your hour."
I don't want to disturb you.
Or whatever. And it's like, "Are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure we can make time for the
Let
Pope.
me share with you our homemade lasagna that we just made, which I recently found out Steph and I both love. Lasagna.
Yes. Who doesn't?
Tweet number 2 is a tweet from Ines San Martin. Those 29 times presidents and popes have intersected. My latest at Crux.
Yeah.
Now, this is a really cool article because it is a very well-researched analysis of every time the Pope has met with one of the U.S. presidents, including multiple times in Rome, outside of Rome, and you know, this just happened here with President Trump meeting with Pope Francis.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch the timeline of it too, because they didn't start meeting until 1919, right after World War I. There was the first instance of a current president. I think there was a time before that. It was like a past
Wilson, right?
Wilson met Pope Benedict XV, and then it took 40 years for the next one to happen, and then all of a sudden it was getting more and more frequent throughout the 60s and to the present day, which I don't think is surprising considering like current events, moral issues that came up, and of course like travel becoming easier and stuff like that. But it's just really interesting to see the trend of it over time, and now of course with Trump's visit to the Vatican.
Yeah, I mean, they're both heads of state.
Yep.
And they're both people who have followings. I mean, and I think a lot of people look at the Pope as if the president is seen with the Pope, then does the Catholic base in America like the president more?
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
there's a political element to it in addition to the sort of stately duties of these kinds of visits. And what I liked about this visit was the gift giving, and it didn't seem like it was overly politicized. I mean, some elements are always.
Yeah, there has to be protocol,
you know, let's focus on peace. Let's focus on doing good things, and that there is a nice, fair, peaceful exchange of ideas during that visit.
And finding common ground, despite I think what a lot of people see that both of them stand for, being kind of opposed, but finding just that common ground of peace and dignity.
That's kind of what we do on this show, Steph. Me and you, we find common ground.
Too.
Like, I like reading your blog. What's the name of it again?
A Soul Watched.
Yeah, interesting.
That's me.
Common ground. Tweet number 3 is from Father Tom McCarthy. Probably Irish.
Yes.
Happy Feast of St. Rita. She died 560 years ago today. Here is her incorrupt body in Cascia, Italy. Saint of the Impossible, pray for us. Now, if you look at this picture, I mean, it's all these incorrupt bodies are just so fascinating. Look at
it's amazing.
500 plus years ago, and there she is. I didn't know much about Saint Rita, and I'm excited that we get to celebrate her.
Yeah, me too. And I actually had the opportunity to step in on her feast day. It was a Monday night, the 22nd, to step in for a quartet at a traditional Latin Mass that was being celebrated for her feast day, because one of the priests had a special devotion to her. So at first I got there, I was like, what are we doing? Why are we here? You know, it's like, oh, it's St. Rita. I was like, oh, wow. And you know, the priest told her story during the homily, and it really is, I think she's a very powerful saint based on what she went through, the suffering she endured, and her patience and prayer for her, you know, enemies and whoever was kind of against her, and her quiet faith. I actually got to be anointed with some oil from the lamps outside of her sort of reliquary, where her body is in Cascia. So That was kind of cool.
How neat is that?
Yeah, so it was a big event, and you know, St. Rita's awesome. I loved her story.
And I think, you know, there's so many saints, and this is, you know, part of your summer homework, folks. Like, learn about a saint that probably isn't on the top of your mind.
Yeah.
We all know the sort of saint all-stars, if you will, in the mainstream, but, you know, St. Rita probably doesn't get much TV play, but we're giving her a couple minutes right now, so you go. I can't say you go, girl. That would be very bad. So I say, you go, Saint Rita. Tweet number 4 is a tweet from the Catholic Herald, if we're still on the air. Pope Francis offers condolences to Manchester attack victims. This was so tragic, and I'm always glad to hear Pope Francis jumping in and condemning these things, but then offering prayers. I think of all the leaders, what he can do in these kind of public statements is offer that prayer and that condolence in such a unique way, which is a little bit different than, say, some of the other leaders.
Yeah, and again, that peace just radiating from that man. Again, like, what else can you do in this situation as the spiritual leader of the world? It's just another senseless act of violence. And with all the young people there, I think people are just especially outraged. It's just horrible. It's ridiculous.
It's horrible in so many ways. Even I live in Medford. The opening act at that concert was a Medford resident, and all sorts of people. And then you start learning about the victims, and it's just
stories,
like, what you know, what can we do, watching from our necks of the woods across the country and various parts of the world, and I think prayer has no borders, and prayer can reach all elements of the world. So we're praying for those good people along with Pope Francis.
Absolutely.
And tweet number 5. Lastly, as his relics tour the States this summer, I thought we might end the season of this comforting advice from Saint Padre Pio, courtesy of Esmerelda Kiczek. It is, quote, pray, hope, and don't worry, St. Padre Pio.
Relevant.
Talk about really good advice for what we were just experiencing about 20, 30 seconds ago.
What can we do? You know, Jesus said himself, be not afraid. You know, we know that justice will be done in the end, and it may not be in front of our eyes on earth, but, you know, as long as we keep praying and hoping for that, then...
It is very hard to not worry.
I know.
Big picture,
Believe
small
me.
picture. And again, I'm saying this as a new dad. It's very hard to not worry. I worry about the state of the world in general as a fellow human, but I worry about the state of my little daughter, and I worry about how she's going to interact in the world, and I also worry about little diaper rashes, which are on the opposite end of the
Daily
spectrum.
struggles.
But it's just like all of these things,
Yeah.
it's hard not to worry. But what's kind of helped me get through a lot of the general worries is that pray and that hope, and this sort of mantra of let's just do our best. Let's just be good and do our best in this world.
That's all we can do.
Steph, season 2 with Steph Scogna. If you can reach, get in here. Awesome job. Thank you for being my companion along this buzz called faith. And when we return, we will commence with discussion of, you guessed it, commencement here on the Lens.
Oh boy.
Good fist bump. I like that. There's a little bit. This chair seems like it's extra rolly today. Did they loosen these up?